Right now on Close Up with The Hollywood Reporter.
There's this myth that goes around that Americans don't get irony.
What does that mean?
This is my impression of Danny Glover.
Riggs, there's a bomb on my dick.
We'll hear from the most talked about comedy actors in television. Thomas Middleditch, Silicon Valley. Will Forte, The Last Man on Earth. Ricky Gervais, Derek. Jordan Peele, Key and Peele. Fred Armisen, Portlandia. Don Cheadle, House of Lies. Welcome to Close Up with The Hollywood Reporter. I'm Stacey Wilson, awards editor for The Hollywood Reporter and your host. Let's jump right in. I'd like to talk a little bit about your current shows. Start with Will. Last Man on Earth was notoriously a hard sell for network television. And I'm wondering, what was the toughest part of getting this show on the air?
The hardest part about it, they were into it from the beginning and very supportive, but the hardest thing was to have them buy into long stretches of time without people talking. That was really tricky.
Yeah, network execs don't like that very much.
Yeah, that was by far the hardest part.
So how did you overcome that?
Well, we were very honest about our intentions from the beginning. The nerve-wracking part was just thinking that at some point they would force us to go against their promises of letting us do what we wanted to do, and they were battles along the way, and not battles, just conversations, which it was nerve-wracking, but ultimately they were kind of letting us do what we wanted to do. So that was the scary part, though, is entering into this agreement and thinking, oh, they're going to make us change it all around, and they ultimately stuck to their promise.
Were there any minor adjustments they asked for?
Oh, yeah, little things along the way, and God, we wrote so many drafts of that thing. And but I will say that by having to do all these things that at times seemed like addressing crazy notes, it ultimately made the show better, I think. So I'm thankful for their crazy notes. And some of them weren't crazy.
What were some of their notes?
Have more talking. The little,
Can there be
little
more
things
people
like
in
you
this?
couldn't show, don't show a dead body, which we thought was important in the beginning. And we still hear to this day, like, where are all the dead bodies? And we had a way
Because we really don't know what
it
happened.
in the beginning.
Right.
Just don't use real ones, they meant.
Yeah.
Can't we
were
just use
taking a
pop
stand.
ones?
We
No.
want a real dead body.
This is about realism.
Yeah. But I like that in your show, that you don't
Oh
see
yeah,
the
yeah.
bodies.
No, we didn't miss it when we let.
Yeah.
But
The Walking
but it was-
Dead's on the same night.
Yeah,
so
we're covered with bodies.
Hey, can I have a whiskey? You want a whiskey? Gary? Whiskey? You sure? How about you, Jimmy? No? Okay, well, does anyone want a whiskey? Huh? Greg? Kevin? Anton? No? Really? Nobody? Trevor? Terrence? Trent? Darby? Bryce? Marshall? Peter? Thomas? Max? Dashiell? Diego?
How about the rest of you on your current shows? What were the best jokes you had to lose or notes that you were given that you just said, okay, I have to make a concession on this front? I'm sure you guys have had a lot of conversations with Comedy Central about the boundaries.
Well, you'd be surprised. This is a network that's, been successful with South Park and Chappelle.
And the word comedy's in the name, so
Word
that helps.
comedy's in the name, so they're not afraid of going for it. The strangest notes that we'll get are things like, is Star Wars really a thing that people care about? And then, of course, everyone cares about
And you
this.
write back, what do you say?
And then we go, yeah, that's the...
People still care.
Yeah, people still care.
You just write back, no doyoy.
No, doyoy. Did the sketch, not a lot of people cared, to be honest. So, the younger generation are not as feverish for
So
Star Wars
questioning
as we are.
zeitgeist pieces of...
So the zeitgeist thing, what's relevant, and we have this.
We have a very young demo on Comedy Central.
We're targeted at the kids, so we gotta write sketches about Drake and shit. No, but one of the main reasons our show has been successful is that the network has allowed us to go places. They've even pushed us, over the line sometimes, and we're very lucky to have found that home.
And have they weighed in a lot on a lot of the race stuff, which is kind of, the
No, I
cornerstone
mean,
of
we
your show?
have this wonderful thing called the race card, which we can play at any point. Any time you get a note you don't like, it's a black thing, and that's the end of the conversation.
Wait until they hire that black exec who's like, it's not.
Well,
black.
that's
They're just trying to get around that.
Thank God Hollywood does not hire black execs.
You're good. You're covered.
Thanks,
You're safe. That will never happen.
You will be in room 237, and you have free Wi-Fi there. Also, from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every morning, there's a free continental breakfast.
Continental breakfast.
Yes, from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m.
So it's continental then?
Fred, on Portlandia, I know you are given a lot of creative freedom.
We are.
And I'm wondering, what are the challenges of keeping it fresh and after 5 seasons and keeping IFC interested and keeping Lorne Michaels interested? He's the producer. What challenges do you face now at this point?
Well, it's mostly for us and for our fans, We feel like when we've done a season of a type of sketch, we just think, let's just change it up this year. So we just, at the beginning of every writing session, we think, okay, what's the goal for this season? And we've done that every year so far.
And how are you finding inspiration now for your sketch ideas?
It's never ending so far. Because we haven't seen each other in a while, after a few months, we'll just check in with what each other's experiences have been. And we usually write it on our phones. Like, I noticed this happen, and if it resonates with the other writers, then we think, might be worth writing a sketch about or an episode about. Hi, welcome to Tiny Town.
Micro village.
Little place, and that's a tiny micro house.
Yeah, it's very, very efficient.
Everything is thought out, no waste of space anywhere. This is a bathroom and a home office.
Can you hand me the shower gel, please?
Yes, coming up. There you go.
Thank you.
Thomas, I'm interested, on Silicon Valley, how much control do you have over the funny moments?
I'd say it's fairly substantial. I mean, we're all allowed to try things, and sometimes they might be like, hey, not for this. But that's mainly because they've got a bird's eye view of the episode, and it's like, in their head, it's running like 45 minutes, and they've got to get it down. Or that it just isn't funny. But yeah, I feel like I have a fair amount of contribution, and either it's in the moment or pitched before we roll. But yeah, I would say the character is very much an amalgamation of my contribution plus everybody else's, as well as all the little bits in between.
Do you get to improv at all?
Yeah. It's not about, improv on that show isn't about rewriting a scene or like creating a whole new, storyline. A tangent may evolve, but it's more about like character color or finding a little moment that's like, oh good, that's our little out to get to something else. I mean, a guy like Zach Woods, who's an incredible improviser, his character in the pilot is just like a guy who worked at Hulu who was taken over to our side. But it's all his little improvs that didn't even make it into the show, that everyone was like, oh, I know how to write for you now. And now he's become this very, weird guy with a lot of hidden secrets that's just pretty much come out of him, and then people seeing that and then like writing for them.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Whoa, you okay there, Richard?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Sorry, can't really throw it any slower.
Give it another cut, Richard.
No, I'm fine. I don't want to. Maybe someone else wants to. Who's next?
If someone has to go, I'll go, but it seems very frightening.
That's why I think sometimes the second series of something is better than the first, because when you write it, you don't know who's going to play it. Then you cast. Then the second time, you know who's playing it. You're building their physicality there. It's so funny, because the first time I shot The Office, lots of improv, and in the cold light of day, the scripted lines worked better than the improv lines. Because once you cut it down,
it made sense.
It made more sense.
Well, there's a lot of times where you watch either comedy, either on TV or film, where you can kind of just
could tell,
get
right?
the sense that it's like actors trying to throw funny lines in there.
Yeah.
When it seems out of place, it's like, what?
Yeah, they're above it. They were, yeah, exactly.
And they can kill on set because it's
They
unexpected.
kill on set, yeah.
Exactly. The crew laugh because they haven't heard it before, and you get.
I love that this is your guy.
Oh, yeah, the crew
He's
there.
back now.
That boom
Finally,
up,
I'm somebody.
Yeah, at last. I feel sorry for boom ups because when they're doing a great take and they go boom in, everyone looks at them. Whereas if an actor sort of laughs, everyone goes, "Oh, isn't that cute? He's ruined the line because he's laughing. Oh, he's great." Boom ups thinking, "Fucking hell, he's ruined every take." And I went in once, and I'm like, "Come on, Carl."
And it is Carl.
Yeah.
Don, how about on House of Lies? Have you had to, there's a lot of, I would say, raunchy material. Have you had to pull back on anything?
No, I mean, on Showtime, it's more...
The more the better?
Could you do more, you know? And it's obviously, it's fun about that show that we get to really let our id run wild a little bit. And Matthew Carnahan, our showrunner and the creator of it, is really instrumental in that. But the network's always really behind us, and we haven't run into anything that we've had a lot of pushback. They're actually very... I mean, a lot of times you get really bad notes from the studio, but they're very smart and really kind of have their ear to the ground about the things that they think will work and don't work.
Do they weigh in, because your show really is an amalgam of drama and comedy in a way that most of these shows aren't. Are they weighing in on, this is too dramatic, this isn't funny enough? You know, is there like a ratio of laughs that they need to keep it
I think actually the cast is always pushing to have it be more funny. We want to do, bigger things, and we have the guys to do it, Ben Schwartz and Josh and Kristen, they're all really, really good, and we want to do more, but it is a tricky balance trying to find which foot you want to be on. Some people believe in the dharma of non-attachment. Some people believe in the dharma of loving kindness. But I've come to realize that I believe in the dharma of search and destroy. I believe in the dharma of take no prisoners. I believe in the dharma of kicking ass.
How do the rest of you get inspired? Comedy is not an easy thing to keep fresh.
Real life is obviously the biggest influence on me, and I assume most comedians who do anything that could be called observational. And realism in the production of it is, I'm quite a slave to that as well.
What about Derek specifically? It's such an odd concept.
Well, I try and write about what I know, and I've always done that. I worked in an office for 10 years, wrote about it, extras. I was fascinated that I was now in this entertainment game, and I thought it might be interesting to other people. And a lot of my family were care workers. And I suppose I wanted it to be a bit of an antidote to all the stuff I'd done. I'd done a lot about fame. David Brent was about a normal man getting famous from all the docu-soaps I'd watched in the 90s and extras. The Golden Globes, there was a lot about me about fame, and I wanted to sort of go back to ordinary people, It's my favourite thing, making the ordinary extraordinary. I think that resonates more. And then the funny is sort of easy. It's sort of easy to be funny and get a laugh. Comedy is really a normal person trying to do something big and they're not equipped. Mm-hmm. Like today I was going, what, they're going to put a jacket on me? What? Like, that's a big problem. Put a jacket on me, that'll ruin everything.
But you deserve a jacket, Ricky. You deserve it.
But I don't know, it's that sort of thing, that things you're not equipped. Not being ready or equipped is so funny. Nervousness. And with that arrogance and stupidity, thinking it's okay, so you're laughing at them. That's what you're either laughing with them or at them. That's the thing. You laughed at David Brent, he had the blind spot. It was the difference between that chasm between how he saw himself and how we saw him. Whereas with Derek, it's more, you're sort of on their side. They're saying funny things and they're meant to be funny. So it depends what angle. I learned that from Lauren Hardy. In The Office, there was lots of idiots, there was lots of Stans and one Ollie. There was one Tim just thinking... you've always got to have that. Who's your Stans, who your Ollies. There's nothing funnier than real life. It's euphoric. It just feels great. And that's my inspiration, really.
Bit early, innit?
The early bird catches the worm, babe.
What if the worm's having a lie-in?
What?
What if the early bird gets up and goes on to go and catch the worm, and he gets there, but that day, the worm's overslept?
And I read somewhere you said the Brits may be more equipped for satire because you're more comfortable with the losers in life.
Well, it was there's this myth that goes around that Americans don't get irony, which is it's ridiculous.
What does that mean?
It's they don't do it all the time. Two Brits meet, and it's the first one to get out a sarcastic comment. And Americans don't need to do that. Sometimes they say, oh, you look good. A Brit would go, what do you mean? What are you after? What do you mean I look good? What do you want? Right. We're suspicious. Because we're life's losers. We celebrate life's losers. We root for the underdog. And as soon as that underdog wins, forget it. Next. You know what I mean? Next. I hate him. We made you.
I love it. I'd like to know from each of you, who's been most influential on your comedic style or what you think is funny now? Is there someone who in your life is an enduring inspiration or influence?
Christopher Guest.
Christopher Guest, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
He's a good one.
I just saw Dave Chappelle come back after a long time gone, and it was really about 15 minutes of material and about an hour of the audience just taking him wherever. And it was unbelievable to watch. It was like a high wire act, and I've just never seen anybody so
able to, I mean, he literally had nothing. He was like, what do you guys want to do? And somebody would say something, and he would immediately turn it into a thing, and that would be 5 or 10 minutes, and it was killing, and it was like improv. It's like jazz to me. And really feels weird to say it, but it really is true that I watch all of you guys, and I just YouTubed you the other day and showed it to my kids, the bit you did with the Peyton, the coach of the dance. It just kills me. So, I mean, I look at you guys all the time, and every time I see Ricky at an event, the first time when I sat with you and Louis C.K. at the Emmys, and I was literally just watching them go, and just, it was great.
Consult each other.
Oh, it was the best. It was just the best. So
Louis is great.
Yeah.
He's my I think, most current guy that I think he's
He's sort of an American you in a way.
Well, I will hate that. Keep that in. Keep that in. That's amazing.
No, but it's true. I think the two of you really get to the heart of the humanity piece of comedy.
Yeah, I think that's his sort of secret. He goes out and he says the most horrendous things, but you know he's a struggling father bringing up 2 kids who he loves, so he can say anything.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant piece of placement. And then he can be angry about everything. And I think that's the thing with you can get away with murder in a narrative comedy if you like the guy because he's doing it for a good reason. Because it's all about intention. And that's the thing. We're all flawed, we all make mistakes, we're all struggling, we all want to be popular. So you recognise that guy straight away and you want him to win, but you like him failing. Go back to Lauren Hardy. What I loved is that they were delusional and they tried their best and they failed and they got back up and they had another crazy scheme. You know, you're with them. I think comedy's more about empathy than people think. It is an intellectual pursuit, but it helps if you root for the guy.
Well, but then there's also, I mean, I love just despicable characters. You know, like Brent, like the politician character that, you know, you played on SNL. I forget the name, Will.
Oh, Tim Calhoun?
Tim Calhoun. I mean, these characters that are just sort of, they're hateable. They're delusional.
Yeah.
And I think one of the first guys that taught me that black people can do this was Martin Lawrence. You know, on his show, he had his character, Martin Payne, he's a dick. He's kind of an asshole. Yeah. He's totally flawed. He was like this Ralph Cramden type, where his flaws were totally visible. He had that blind spot.
Totally arrogant.
Totally arrogant, and still you loved him. Still you empathized with him. I find that fascinating, that these characters, you know, Brent, you hate him,
yeah, but he's so flawed and so desperate, whereas there's people, someone having, a comedian coming out and telling you what a great day they've had and how brilliant they are, it's nothing remotely funny. It's like someone saying what a great holiday they had, there's nothing in it for you. You want someone to come out, fall over and go, oh, that's the second time today. Yeah. They're falling over for your pleasure. You want to know they've had a bad day too. And I think it is best, comedy lets you know that there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah, we all have it.
Fred, how about you? Who inspires you?
I think Amy Poehler, in the way that she just keeps making things, the fact that she's behind Broad City kind of says a lot about her. She's selfless, but she still wants to make comedy. And I think our show, in our writer's room, we talk about Key and Peele all the time. We're just like, you've been sort of this way into things. We're like, well, they were able to do it like this. So also like Don said, I'm inspired by everybody here. I'm not shy about, well, he wasn't shy about saying it either, but like, I absolutely, all of your shows, I'm so glad that we all get to do all this stuff together, you know?
Well, shifting gears a little bit, what bugs you most about comedy today? Is there a trend in the business that's irksome to you?
Yes, idiots confusing the target of the joke with the subject of a joke. It's been getting worse and worse. The last 5 years, it's social media, it's everyone.
Well, and this past week, Trevor Noah kind of experienced the downside of tweeting jokes.
Yeah, but I don't even mean, you haven't got a get out of jail free card with, it was just a joke. I don't believe that, you know, and I'm all for political correctness, right? But it's not about that. It's about stupid people misunderstanding the joke and then getting angry about it. At least understand the joke before you dislike it. I think it's a knee-jerk reaction and people accept it. There was a review once of one of my comedy gigs and the guy said Ricky Gervais should be banned. His subject matter deals with da-da-da-da. 2 of my friends went to see him and they tell me, what? So you did, what? Well, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
Void does not count. Right. You know, it's like...
But he's got a blog.
yeah. So... But this is a national newspaper.
Well,
it was
also that.
Yeah.
Getting angry in general, why?
Yeah, I know.
Who cares?
I know. It's so funny.
How do people have that much time?
They want to be heard.
Yeah.
They want to be heard. They want.
I'm mad.
It's like complaints.
Why?
Most complaints. If someone complains about something and customer services, and you phone them up, so just regarding your complaint, they go, oh, well, don't worry about it. I just wanted to They just want to be heard and they're okay.
Yes.
And it's these people that aren't heard enough, so they demand it. They can't believe we get away with saying stuff because they don't get it. They don't get what we're saying, and that's the problem. Most people do, but they've misunderstood the
But
joke.
it only takes a small percentage of people to sort of ruin it, essentially.
Well, it does ruin it, but you've got to ignore them, really. You've got to fight through them. Even notes, which is a nice, calm and much more collaborative thing. I haven't had to take notes, but that's because I didn't go to places where they would demand them. And so my compromise was going to fringe channels that I knew wouldn't do it. But that is a compromise, you know. Less people watch my shows. You know, you want to go, I can't change that. And you get tired of that. In the early days, it's like you're dealing with some of the notes I had with that. You can't argue comedy. It doesn't make sense. It's like arguing with someone whether they've got a pain in their leg. It doesn't make sense.
I think you can argue comedy. Some people just, either it's your taste or your perceived everyone's taste. You can be like, that's not funny, and someone can say, yes, it is.
Exactly that. If someone says, I'm not funny, they're right. If someone says I am funny, they're right. It's because, do you know what I mean? It is taste, right?
I would say for me, like a kind of a gripe is, I would say in feature comedies, right now there seems to be a staleness in terms of mainstream feature comedies. There seems to be some sort of formula where kind of like everything works out in the end, and you'll see the 2-minute trailer and you might as well have just already seen the movie. There's nothing else to it. Now there are some exceptions, some weirder things out there that are always like nice and surprising, but I would say like the big ones, there's very little that I'm like,
titles.
No, that's true. But that's because someone's put 50 million up.
That's another thing. There's high stakes. So
and they do all the notes and the change. So they make sure you know you're going to see the film you saw last week and it's just as good. You're not going to waste your $15 and it works.
But then again, I could be not the right person to be the arbiter of what is good or not, because there's plenty of TV shows that get millions of viewers, and I'm like, I can't even sit through 22 minutes of it. So
I feel like you're talking about my show now, because my show's the only show that's like 22 minutes, almost exactly.
Yeah. Because he looked your direction a little bit.
I looked right at me. But so then, like, who's going to believe me to be like, yeah, but you don't like the things that everybody else likes.
But that's why you only do it. You only have to please one person as creator, and that's yourself. And that's the only thing you can go on. Everything else doesn't matter, because as many people are going to love it, more people are going to hate it. Anything you say, someone will find it offensive.
And it's like, if you don't internalize that, I think you stop trying. You go to the safety, to the comfort zone. You don't reach for things that are going to possibly... But it's very difficult to have that conviction where you go, I like it. I think it's funny. There are enough me's out there that are going to have the same
But it's getting better now, because there's alternatives. You don't have to bow down and go for the... people are breaking all over the place, you know? And for the first 15 years, I did compromise and go to smaller channels, but, Netflix comes along and the sky's the limit. No interference, and it's there for people to watch if they want it, and I think that makes you more bulletproof. I mean, one day I'll just be in my YouTube channel. I was thinking 19 views.
It'll be all you. And it's just you being like, hey guys, here's how you put on makeup.
Yeah. Only one down thumb. Look, 18 up, one down. That's not bad.
Yeah. I gotta click up some more.
There's 21.
Yeah.
So I would like to know who or what first taught you what it means to be funny. I'm gonna start with Ricky.
Oh, why?
Because.
Oh, no.
Because you're the funniest.
Keep that in. Whatever else. Well, if you don't count, do you mean as soon as you understood that it was a career? Because my first thought was my family and my older brothers and friends, like 5, 6. I realised it felt good to laugh and make people laugh. And that was very important for me growing up, that I was always attracted to funny people before anything else, and I sort of kept that, really. But the first time I understood it was people doing it for my pleasure and was Laurel and Hardy. And I still think it began and ended with them, because I suppose it's about empathy. And it wasn't just the jokes or the lines or the craft. It was the fact that I sort of loved them. I loved watching them and I wanted to be their friend. So I suppose it was understanding empathy and that sort of thing. See, now I've gone first, right? And I did a serious, pretentious answer. He's going to do a one-liner. He's going to be funny. It's going to be laughter.
How about Will? Are you going to be funny?
No, I mean, and now I you talk about going first, and I have to go second after just a wonderful answer. And I got sucked into the answer. I don't know how to answer. I mean, that so much of it is exactly his answer. Just wanting to please Ricky's family, and it felt good to like make them laugh. No, I mean, it's like all the same stuff. Saturday Night Live was a big deal for me, and then Letterman.
It was before he was on, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah,
it was right before
that. Way before that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But those things, it just made me so happy, and I was like, oh my God, this what a delightful thing. If I could do that for a living, it seems like so much fun.
And Thomas, how about you?
Well, I'm the token Canadian, and for me it was Kids in the Hall. Just like click on over to the CBC on Monday nights or whatever it was and see those guys. It was just they were so weird and absurd, and they always sort of like challenged absurdity, which I always loved. And the Monty Python movies, I think Flying Circus was like too crazy at times, but those movies combined their love of madness with narrative, which I think, I mean, me personally, when you could just sink your teeth into a good story and laugh along the way is always a joy. Best answer, vote.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, you'll edit that down, right?
Yeah.
I like that as well, because I think I became aware that I was jealous of grown men acting ridiculous. And I thought, well, I get told off at school for being a fool and mucking around, but they're doing it for a living. And I think that was the thing that I thought, this would be great. No one can tell me not to do it, because it'd be my job then. And I remember thinking that, yeah.
And I can finally dress as a lady, and people will think it's great.
Well, that's route one. That's the funniest thing you can ever do as a comedian if you're a man, is dress up as a woman.
Yeah.
That's rule one. Well, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Fred, how about you?
I'd say early on it was probably Friends, and then cartoons, I suppose. Like watching Bugs Bunny and stuff, and then...
Friends came before the cartoons?
I'm saying Friends, my own friends.
Oh, your own
I
friends.
thought you were talking about the sitcom Friends.
Serious Friends, too. I was like, wow.
They stole that.
That's so late.
Oh, no.
But that's good. No, take it.
Ross and Rachel, will they, won't they?
Why not?
See, when I said Friends, they knew what I meant. When you said Friends, they thought it was that show on television.
That's my appeal, is the mystery. Like, am I being meta? Am I sort of like jumping ahead too far? Like, that's you get from it what you want.
And how did you know that being funny had value in your life?
I felt like it had currency with my friends when we would talk about like SCTV, where it was kind of like a secret show in a way, and you can kind of talk about something you'd seen, the night before. And same with SNL as well. It was just sort of way you could kind of impress each other by like doing impressions of impressions or characters. So I would say somewhere in there, definitely.
I think it's certainly bonding, isn't it? It's the first thing that I always thought, that's my type of person, what they liked, what they got, what they didn't get.
Totally.
Yeah.
And also survival. I mean, you may see me and say, that guy's a really cool guy. He was probably always really cool, but there was a time where, laughter...
Violent. I thought you're probably the bully.
100%. 100%. Yeah, I was the bad one. It's definitely the bad one. And so I just...
The bad Canadian.
Yeah. So I made laughter my weapon, and I killed people with it.
Here comes the Canadian.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Jordan, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, 7 years old, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, Ricky Gervais comes on the screen. Ricky actually is very instrumental to me. I think you're just a rare genius.
That's a bit much
That'll
for
be
this
cut,
early
won't it?
on.
That will be cut.
Let's cut that, because I feel uncomfortable with it. Early on, it was SNL and In Living Color. I was a huge fan of Phil Hartman, just a utility player on a sketch show. I just loved the fact that he could take any role and just bring such truth to it, amazing just vocal work. And when In Living Color came around, it just showed me how important sketch is to push boundaries, to walk this tightrope line and step over the edge, and sometimes it went too far, and it was exciting, and it was magical to watch. And of course, Eddie Murphy on SNL as well.
And Don?
I think probably first it was my family. I just remember really having a connection with my mom, because she would say anything, and just going, wow, you can really just say anything. Mm-hmm. And if it's in the right spirit, it's really bonding. And it was the same thing with my close friends and families. Like, I don't think it's that much different. We learned early that making people laugh and you laughing yourself is kind of the best feeling you can get.
Yeah.
And when you can share that, just, you know, and bullying too, and in the ways that you can reach across to people that you thought you would have no connection with, and you guys laugh, and like, oh, wait a minute, we're not that different, and this is actually a way we can, and then they get back to kicking your ass, but at the beginning,
had a nice laugh
there was a
before
moment
that, yeah.
where you're like, yeah, it was nice.
You're a funny guy. You are a funny guy.
You think you're pretty funny, huh? Well, look who the comedian is.
And what would you say is the worst job you had coming up in the business? And this can be in showbiz or otherwise.
I used to install cable in the crawl spaces of apartments, and probably crawling over asbestos and rat shit. It was pretty bad. Yeah. Wow. But stealing from the apartments that you could get into and like stealing their weed stashes and stuff like that, that was fun.
Yeah, bonus.
Not that that's, you know, condoned.
No, I wouldn't if there are kids watching.
Why are you watching?
Yeah, why are you watching, first of all?
Why are you watching?
Go to your favorite viral video site, see someone get hit in the nuts. Anything with this,
don't
please.
do this.
How about you, Will? What terrible job did you have?
I mean, this is going to sound weird because it's not, you know, it's an office job, but I was doing what my dad did. I was working for a financial consultant, and it was just really tricky because I started thinking I wanted to go into comedy, but like it was really scary to break away from what I had thought I should be doing with my life and go for this crazy thing. So that was, you know, I've had jobs that were harder and jobs that were not fun to do, but this was the one that really like dragged me down because it was really hard to go away from the thing that my dad did.
How did you do that?
I just stayed at it for so long that it was breaking my spirit, and finally it broke me. I bottomed out. You know, I hit.
Father, I'm leaving.
Well, I wasn't working with
I'm
him.
going to LA.
And then,
After all the success I've brought you, boy.
No, but
I'm going to be a comedian.
Of course, the second I called my dad and said, I don't want to do this. I want to try to do comedy. He was incredibly supportive. He was like, I don't know why you were doing that in the first place.
Because you're terrible at this job. I've been trying to fire you for 3 years. I just couldn't work up the courage.
In those jobby jobs, were you like the funny guy? I find I shut down on the jobby jobs and I'm not me. Like when I think about the old jobs that I had, people weren't interacting with me like, you're gonna be so funny because right now you're being funny. Right now I'm just like, I don't know, I'm just trying to walk these dogs and pick up their poo.
That's sort of true, yeah. The more manual labour it was, the more quiet it was.
Like,
Yeah, I could be...
Anyone else, Fred or Jordan?
I had this job once where I worked for this nightclub, like a disco nightclub, and I had to go around like leaving piles of passes in stores all over the place. So I had this bag, it was really heavy, and I had to go into stores and sort of like, just like leave a little pile of like, get into this nightclub free. And that was long hours carrying a lot of stuff, and no one wanted me there.
You just wanted to be the dancer in the cage, didn't you?
Yeah.
At last.
Yeah. What was the return for that? I still don't know how that worked.
No. It was a joke job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was a joke job.
You know what we gotta do? Get some kids to get out there and put some passes out. That's what they say. That's all it is.
Watch
you know?
them, they'll do it.
Yeah.
How about a most mortifying audition?
You know?
I've got nothing.
I got everything I ever
had to write
auditioned
myself
for.
a part, so I didn't audition for anything, so I cheated. I went around that.
When did you decide you needed to write your own stuff?
I fell into it. It doesn't sort of really count with me.
Yes, it does. It counts.
Well, I was sort of 36, 37, and I'd worked in an office for like 10 years, which is what the office is based on, but I wasn't thinking I was going to write a thing about this one day. I was the funny guy.
Okay.
You know, but, no, I mean...
You don't have to yell at me.
Nah.
We started off saying you're the funniest.
It's all right.
Whatever some of those other guys that worked there said, I wasn't ninth, I was one.
Okay, you're number one, funniest guy.
No, but I fell into it. Then I got a job in a radio station, and again, it was still sort of admin, and then I started popping up on air, and it all sort of happened from that, you know. I think I went along for one audition for an advert, and it was dreadful, and I didn't get it, and I never want to do that again. I'm no good at auditions. I hate it. Okay, I brought the whole tone down. Jesus.
There is no good audition. I mean, it is an exquisitely mortifying experience for me. One of the more recent ones I had, actually, I went in for Ant-Man.
Did you get it?
The funny thing is, I actually did get it.
Whoa!
But the audition itself was a nightmare. Edgar Wright was directing it at the time. Ended up not directing it, but I went in. It's one of these things where they're like, "You got the gig."
Who's telling you this, by the way?
It's my manager.
Okay.
You know, it's a done deal. They just want to see you on camera. And that's the worst. That's the worst. When it's already done. And so I go in there, and it's like one of these things, it's like, 4 lines that I'm an ant. What are you doing? I'm an ant.
Just stick to the script.
Yeah. Oh, there's some sugar. What are you doing?
Just no improvising needed. We don't need you to go off script.
I've got my own outfit.
Now you and your friends make a bridge. No, just climb up. Go ahead and climb up.
I'll help you with that. Look, I'm like an ant. I'll carry that. Look, I'm just like an ant.
That was the problem. I came dressed as my Aunt Erlene. And I totally missed the thing.
And you kept turning the camera and saying, "It's a Bug's Life."
Yeah. And it was one of those things where you start and you think you don't need the script, and you're back in and you're like.
So what was the reaction in the room?
First of all, I sold my own stuff. I was like, that was shit. That was awful. I apologize. I've wasted your time. And Edgar was very no, you see, you're good. It's try to.
He's doing a British accent.
I was trying to. Was it all right?
Well done.
Well done, mate.
Blood.
But then this is, I guess, how Hollywood works now. Is that I had the worst audition of my life, and then I got the role anyway.
How about the rest of you?
I used to everything, no matter what, I would do this weird Southern accent for some reason. I remember I went in.
James Bond.
Yeah, no. I went. What was it? Almost Famous. I went in to read for the part that Jimmy Fallon got. He was like the manager of the, and I did it in this weird Southern accent. And they said like, try it again without the Southern accent. And I think it got more Southern the second time. Like, I just couldn't. I didn't think that my own voice was interesting enough or something. I don't know what it was. But that was the good thing about SNL is that you're doing your own thing. So
you mean the
have
audition for
a
SNL?
certain amount of control. Yeah, you can make up your own words as opposed to trying to guess what other people are looking for. You're like, this is what I got. Do you like it? So
that one was so nerve-wracking. I thought.
It's terrifying.
Did you audition for SNL too?
I did. It was fine in terms of auditions, but SNL is a bit of a gold standard. It's a bit of a gold medal that were you to get it, you could wear it around, gold medal style. And auditioning for it is so nerve-wracking. I don't know if it was like that for you guys, but you get your 3 characters or 3 impressions or whatever you want to do. You have such a limited time to do it. You're on that stage where you've seen every Saturday, and it's, Lorne Michaels and the crew and everybody, and it could very easily happen where you're just up there sweating and no one's laughing. Like,
well, they generally don't laugh, right?
I mean, they did for me, but like, they were howling. They were on the floor. Schumacher calls. He says, "Stay by the phone. It's gonna happen." But yeah, it was. But it was also an honor just to audition. I think that's one of those shows where you're like, oh yeah, I'll audition and not get it. That's great, as long as I get to
It's
audition.
its own badge of honor, you might say.
Yeah, the failed badge of honor.
I would like to know, what is the craziest thing you've ever done for a laugh or for a role you're playing? I'll start with Don.
Wow.
You have to do a lot of crazy stuff on House of Lies.
Yeah, and whenever I get naked, it's really laugh-worthy, I guess. I mean, the crew laughs. I feel bad. I don't know. That's a really hard question. The craziest thing I've ever done to get a job?
Or when you have the job, or?
Does blowing somebody count?
Absolutely.
No?
No, that's
crazier?
I guess that's not as crazy.
It's not that easy anymore.
Wait.
No, it isn't. I didn't get the job, by the way. And it seemed like it was a setup.
I want to do that one more time. Can you just do, does blowing someone count? Hold on.
You
So
can
what's
just
the craziest thing?
I don't know, does blowing somebody count?
Nice take.
Perfect.
That was great.
Comedy Roundtable. Comedy Roundtable.
Wait, should we say Hollywood Reporter?
Yeah.
Hollywood Reporter!
When were you the most wrong about a sketch or a joke or a bit that you'd written or performed and it just didn't work?
My friend and I, when I was a senior in high school in Denver, there was a comedy store in Larimer Square, and they had an open mic night. And I was like, I think we can do this. We think of ourselves as being pretty funny. So we went home, and we came up with a routine, and we went back that night and did 5 minutes, and it was great. And we crushed, and people loved it, and like, shit, this is easy. And so we wrote up some more stuff. I came back the next week, did it, and I was like, I'm on my way. We're on our way, it's gonna be fantastic. I invited my parents, and you already know where this is headed. And the third weekend, we didn't crush so much. It was very, very, very bad. And there's no worse feeling I've ever had than being on stage trying to do stand-up and having it tank. I mean, I've been in bad plays, but you can pass the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can kind of hide.
Because it's just you as well.
Yeah.
It's you. You can't suddenly say, I didn't write that.
No,
or that's
it was
not what I
bad.
really think.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
no,
And I started pushing harder. And when you get into that sort of adversarial relationship with the audience, and they were just like,
but it is, when you're stand-up, it is like you're coming out saying, this is the funniest stuff I can do. This is my best.
Yeah.
So someone not liking or not getting it, silence is the worst.
Well, what the collective sound of 100 people groaning quietly to themselves that sounded like, it sounded like, but it wasn't. It was just a bunch of people going, but all together. It was the chorus.
How about Will and Fred? I know you had a more eccentric taste on SNL. When you collaborated together, you thought, oh my God, this is going to kill, everyone's going to love it. It's going to air in the first half hour, and then come Saturday at 8 p.m. or whenever they decide.
We did this one, I don't know if you were in this one, but I remember this one where Liam Neeson was the host, and we played a German family, and we all had blonde hair. And I thought it was the funniest thing in the world that Liam Neeson, as the dad, kept sitting on everything. So, like, we presented him with a violin, but he would sort of sit on it as he was lecturing us.
And we went to
yes.
Obviously.
And there was like a dollhouse that the daughter made, but he would talk to her about dollhouses, and as he's talking to her, he would sit on it. It went to dress, and I thought it was the funniest thing in the world, and it was very, very dead silent. It wasn't groan.
Very dead silent.
It was the absence of sound. It was, I could hear everything being crushed that he was sitting on, and I didn't want to be able to hear it.
Was he game for this? Did he seem like he was really?
He sold it. We all had German accents and everything.
Will, how about
but
you?
now that I've described it, I'm thinking, that was not the best idea in the whole world. I'm like, where's the joke?
Are you kidding me, bro? It's when he crushes all those tiny things.
Yeah, that was just the one line. Liam Neeson sits on things. We have it.
Yes, we got it.
So,
yeah.
I mean, we would do some weird stuff. So I think you go in knowing there's a chance of total failure. But there was one thing that Bill Hader and I did, he just talked about a couple days ago, called fart face. You know, you do something called fart face, you're not expecting that it's gonna win any artistic awards or anything, but this was complete silence. And so you get to the end of the dress rehearsal and you're like, oh, that's okay, well, we tried it out.
I love it. Go on,
Oh, it's just two people in an office setting. It's like, Jerry, I'd like you to stop calling me fart face, please. He's like, oh, you got it, Bill? Sure.
And then Josh Brolin comes in and he's like, hey, have you met fart face here? And it's like, I thought I specifically asked you to stop calling me fart face. And so, we thought, okay, it's in this office setting. People get over the fact that we're just using the word fart face. People didn't forget that.
So at no point did the guy's face fart?
There's
your problem.
No point.
Yeah.
We thought
So
we had a pretty
unrealistic.
solid sketch here, and no laughter. And then Lauren somehow put it into the show, and it met with even more silence. It was like,
Even more not laughter.
Vacuum of silence.
More people not laughing. Yeah, sure.
You know, I watched it the other day, and I still stand behind that thing. It's really, I have no, you can never guess.
You've got 10,000 T-shirts at home with fart face. You thought they were going to go like hotcakes after that.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
When you do it in the who do you do it for?
It's an audience.
watching?
It's like a totally different
They bring in
audience.
like an 8 o'clock audience, and they kind of judge things according to that, and then they bring in the other audience at 11:30. The thing that's humiliating is there'll be a sketch right after, and the audience is on board. So it's not that they're a bad audience, because you're like, this audience is dead.
Right.
Like, one right after that
suck.
kills, and you're just like, oh, they let us know. They let us know, and no.
One thing that is not advised is doing sketch at a stand-up show. That does not work.
No.
That's not what they're
Especially when
expecting.
people have been killing. Keegan and I did this show this was the worst, just flop sweat buckets, mortifying.
This is before the show, I'm assuming.
This is between our first and second season. So we had a show, no one knew who we were. So the football names sketch, the East West, that, works on television. I don't know how we got the idea to come out and just go back and forth
And say names.
doing these names.
Oh.
It was like a riot. They beat us off the stage. And it was one of those things where we had to do like 15 minutes, and the crowd is just all lubed up, drunk, and surly.
And they still weren't laughing.
And they were, and it was an angry mob. It was an angry mob, and it was one of those things we went,
You're sort of helpless, aren't you? You're defenseless because you're in character. It's like with stand-up, you can come back. It's you. You're already doing it. It's great. Because you want to go. We've just got 3 minutes to do, and then we're going to leave. We just got to do this and then leave. I know.
We had no backup plan. All we knew to do was like, let's get to the song. You know,
It's because it's asking too much of the audience. If they just
Way
had
too much.
stand-up that cuts through alcohol.
Right.
Whereas a sketch is sort of too demanding. If it's good, you know,
They
it's
gotta
just
change gears
Yeah,
and watch
I'll
it
just
carry people.
yeah.
that was a tough lesson. You know, now if we did it, because the sketch kind of blew up, now I feel like the same drunk audience would be like, "Yeah, do it again!"
I would like to know, who are your dream comedy collaborators, aside from everyone sitting at this table? Let's start with Fred.
You can still say me though.
You can
can't
still say, yeah, but
you can
we're
still
just-
if you went, yeah.
Yeah, but under the caveat.
No. She
said beside.
Yes, but we put her in charge.
She's got the cards,
The
man.
president of Hollywood.
She's got the cards. She's got the things.
I would say Prince. You know what I mean?
You are obsessed with him.
Yeah, but someone like in music, so that it's like that's
Someone
really
doesn't-
unexpected.
Someone doesn't take themselves too seriously.
Yeah, someone, you know.
Or someone who makes a living as a comedic performer.
I've worked a little bit with Louis C.K. on SNL, but something with our show would be really fun. That's the first person. I guess Tina Fey would be great, even though we work together on SNL.
She doesn't count.
She doesn't count?
No.
Just be people we haven't heard of, or
No, people you haven't worked with before.
I think Woody Allen, just to see what his take on something would be. Somewhere in some of those people. That's a hard one, though, because a lot of the things that have turned out best are the surprises, you know?
And there are maybe a lot of dramatic performers who are funny,
Yeah.
who you didn't know were funny.
Piggyback off that, I would say one of my top ones, besides everyone on this table, would be Jim Carrey, but Jim Carrey in a Truman Show or Eternal Sunshine's kind of way. Because he was like, you know, when we were talking about like big ones when you were younger, I mean, he was like, oh man, Jim Carrey's the best.
And he could do everything.
He can do everything, yeah. And I think when he like tones it down and like takes a breath, it's just like he's really some truly inspiring performances. And then on the other side of the spectrum, Wes Anderson. That would be just crazy. After seeing Budapest so many times, just being like, how can I get in such a particular dollhouse world? How?
Will, how about you?
It's a hard question to
It
answer.
really
I
is,
mean,
isn't
because being at SNL,
We got
get
to meet
so
everybody.
many of these
Yeah,
people
we've all at least been in a scene with
With
Yeah.
whoever, yeah.
Christopher Guest and Catherine O'Hara, that whole crew, those guys are legendary. And I mean, you know what their process is like. Man, if I could be in one of his movies, I'm done. Hanging up the gloves.
you have an audition next week.
Christopher Guest, Ant-Man.
But don't worry, bro, it's in the bag.
You got it.
Don't do the ant thing.
Oh, you know who would be great, who I haven't seen in a long time, is Rick Moranis.
Yeah.
What is he up
He's
to?
retired.
I guess he is, huh?
I think that's the word.
That seems like the...
Somehow I heard
great.
something's coming out. So he's doing something with somebody.
We interrupted Will. Will was about to say something.
Oh yeah, Will was going to say something.
Collaborators.
John Cleese. John Cleese.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Can we pick non-living people?
Sure,
Peter
why not?
Sellers?
Sure,
yeah.
of course.
Alec Guinness.
Dead.
Fred.
Dead. Remember him in Kind Hearts and Coronets? Did you ever see that?
Oh yeah, he was great.
You've perked up now. Dead people don't see
Yeah.
haven't you?
Also, Dracula.
Yeah, that's a fictional character, though, isn't it? Because he's
No, I think he's dead.
No, but he didn't
He was
exist,
never
did he,
alive.
really?
He never
didn't really
actually
exist.
existed.
With the
Did he?
cape? You've seen him with the fangs and everything.
No, that was a film. That was a film.
That was Prince.
But he was on film.
That was Prince.
Yeah, it was on film. Yeah, but it didn't really happen.
Ricky, are there American performers who?
Bill Murray,
Bill Murray.
Kristen Wiig.
He worked with Kristen Wiig in a movie.
I know, but you can't just
didn't know
because well, does this count now? Have I worked with you guys now? Does that count?
Kind of.
It does, actually.
It
This
does.
is work.
Okay, Bill Murray. Just one. Oh, and Mickey Mouse.
He's dead.
Wow.
He died.
Not
He
dead,
did die.
and
No, he
he's
did.
fictional.
So
No, he's
Dracula
dead,
didn't
and he's
exist,
fictional.
and
You're
now Mickey Mouse didn't die? He's still alive from the 1920s. Steamboat Willie, that guy's still alive. He died.
Yeah, he's got a couple of facelifts, but he's
Steamboat
still...
Willie. That's why I called you in the
Yeah.
toilet, wasn't it?
When you saw his
Because he was making a
extender
noise.
with
He
the
goes,
little-
because he goes, who's gonna have a wee now? And he goes getting out, and I didn't want to. You have to cut this, right? Because it's.
No, you have to put it in. This is live.
And he starts, and so you start playing with the urinal going,
Yeah.
Yeah. Here comes the train into the station. Wee 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 wee.
And most importantly, for today, I need to see your best or worst impression of someone.
Oh no!
And Fred, I know this for a fact. You do a killer Sam Waterston. It's actually what got you your job on SNL.
That's true.
So I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Why didn't you call the police? Why didn't you call 911?
Thank you. What about a worst impression? Why don't we
Okay,
pick someone?
worst is good too.
Sam Watterson. I thought that was the worst.
Was that not the?
That was me at my best. Yeah, nasty.
How about do your best Ricky Gervais?
Oh, come on.
Oh, God. Oh, God, that's bad.
That's pretty good, right?
No, that was good, but I mean, to do it, though, is hard.
What's this? What's that?
No, go on.
Oh
No.
It's Kenneth fucking Williams.
For what?
What are you?
It's ridiculous. No.
That's
no.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
That's all right.
Yeah, you. Yeah. That's the best. That's the best I can do. That's the best.
That was excellent, Jordan.
This is my impression of Danny Glover.
Riggs. There's a bomb on my dick. you got to get it off.
I always hated how Danny Glover was like the uncool black dude on a cop movie. I was like, why are you doing this to us?
He's a family man.
Why are you on the toilet?
He's too old for that shit.
Getting too old for this shit.
He was very jowly and shaky for some reason.
Jowly.
Very jowly.
And do you have a worst?
Why don't we force one on you?
Yeah, this is
George W. Bush.
George W.
That's great.
I surprised myself with that.
That's always how you get into an impression, is just saying the
But it does
names.
work. It does work.
Yeah. Or as Margaret Thatcher would say.
Always got the easier ones are the ones where you do an impression of someone else doing an impression.
That's Will Ferrell's George Bush, essentially.
Probably what's going
Yes,
on.
that's true, because they deconstruct it. They show you the dots.
places where
Yes,
you hit.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I can do you a little bit, but okay.
Go.
I'm an ant. I'm like an ant. I am.
That's
good.
That's based on the story I told earlier, but there was no high pitch.
Also, that'd be cut out, and I'll just be going, I'm an ant. They're going, what the fuck is that? What's he doing?
The answer to the first question, they go straight to that.
It's a callback. It's one of the rules of comedy. You call
Okay,
things
Don's in the hot seat now.
I don't.
Beyonce.
If you no, that's because I'd crush that, and you guys are like,
Yeah. He's done it before.
He is Beyonce.
Yeah.
I got one. Billy Bob Thornton.
Well, what does Billy do? I don't know what he does except
I don't do you in the throat.
I need Angelina Jolie here to do it properly.
Yeah. Can we get Angelina?
Can we get Angie?
Well, luckily, I can do.
Oh, fantastic! Here we go. Oh, yeah, that is good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Ricky.
What?
You're up.
I can't do impressions.
Yes, you can.
Alan Rickman.
I hear Arafat buys his suits there. That was just a line he said in the film. Just a line. Yeah, no.
Die Hard?
Yeah. Now I know what a TV dinner fit. That's just a saying a line.
You've got to get it in the throat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. I'm just going to do lines. I have a dream. Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
Oh, you're just gonna say line.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Oh, when's the Last Supper, Jesus?
Judas.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
He didn't ask. He never asked in the Bible.
No, Jesus. What do you mean Last Supper? Nothing. When's supper?
But I don't think he asked.
Judas gave it away.
That's right, he gave it away.
Did you say Last Supper? No, I said Supper.
All the Romans are like, Judas, you're ruining it.
What did you do? He said Last Supper. Why did he say that?
I don't know. Keep eating.
Okay, Will. I know that you do a mean Christopher Walken, and when I say you do one,
yeah.
you don't do one.
We had a sketch. You must have been in a sketch. There's a sketch where everyone is supposed to come in and do a Christopher Walken impersonation. And people know that I'm not good at impersonations on the show. And so they wrote a part where I just came in to do a bad Christopher Walken, but my Walken is so bad that I got removed from the sketch because it wasn't even good enough to be a bad Christopher Walken.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do it. Now this is the most exciting one now.
Give me a line. Give me a line.
I'm the guy that's gonna kill your kids.
I'm the guy that's going to kill your kids.
Okay. That, I don't know what that was. That sound. I'll tell you what that sounds like. That sounds like Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds Middle Eastern.
Yeah. I hear you do George W. Bush right there. I tried for like a year to do George.
Do it now. Do it now.
George,
I'm horrible.
Will, it was good. This is the best. Do Meryl Streep.
I choose her.
Oh!
That was
that's
just
brilliant.
like Christopher Walken.
That's brilliant.
I can only do Kermit the Frog.
All right.
That's
Go
it.
for it.
Kermit the Frog here.
That's good.
It's because your voice is already a little bit there, isn't it?
Yeah. You know what? I knew that I could do Kermit the Frog because Fred did an impersonation of me, and I was like, that sounds like Kermit the Frog. So I thought, I can do Kermit the Frog, I think.
Great.
Okay, Thomas.
Oh. Well,
Seth
recently, that's what I did in the audition. I was like, no, this is my impression of Seth Meyers. Okay, and next up is, but I've been really into going down a YouTube wormhole of Paul Lynde lately.
Oh, wow.
Just because it's just great. And so one of his bits will be, he's on Hollywood Squares, so the guy will be like, Paul, what makes a baby chimp cry? And he'll say, finding out that Tarzan swings both ways. And it's just like, it's so hammy and crazy. And he's like, he makes the craziest. And like, all like the straight men of like the 60s are like, he's so colorful. Bless him. And the wives are like, I'd leave my husband for you. And he's like, he's so incredible. Love Paul Lynde.
I love Paul Lynde.
Yeah.
On that note, gentlemen.
Wait, no, wait a second.
What did we learn?
You didn't do an
Stay tuned next
impression.
time to
No.
find out.
You didn't even do an impression. Hillary Clinton.
Oh my God. Which email account was that?
Nice.
Thank you all, and I think you should give yourself a round of applause. Thank you. Well done.
That's good.
Woo! It's a wrap. All right.
Can we go?
You can.
Nope, some of us haven't taken pictures yet.
I think I could do your face.
I do that? Don't tell me I do that. Don't tell me I do that.
can do your
This is intense looking.
I think I
You're
can do
gonna
your
make me
face.
never do that again. Oh my God.
I think I can look like it.